Howdy YouTube, Striker Ninja 15 here. Today I'm bringing you my segment, What Really Grinds My Ancient Gear Golem. And today we're going to be talking about one of three subjects. Tournament playing at locals, dumb luck, or values. And by dumb luck, we'll get into that here in a moment. But let's start with the tournament plays. Non-meta decks and fun decks. I think that should be encouraged because a lot of the times when you're playing some smaller, unheard of decks, it's actually pretty fun. And the whole game is about fun. Why would you play a game and not have fun doing it? It's not like you're making money off this. I mean, you can win prizes and stuff that you can sell, but once again, you're not making buku bucks off of it. I honestly encourage fun decks. What was it? The new Hunter series that's come out in Return of the Duelist. I see those cards being really good. I think that if used right, it could actually become a tier deck, which would be pretty awesome. But yeah, this actually leads me into my next point. The meta games in locals. In my local area, you'll see a primary basis of the Geargia armored decks and whatever. Wind-ups, and on the occasion a Dino Rabbit. While those decks, did get hit a bit, and now they're becoming budget, I'd actually like to see more variety in them. Not picking apart decks or nothing, but the wind-up deck is kind of what kills me here. What with the new spamming of Exceed summonings and whatnot, and the mild loop you can do, you get like one shot to do it. While that's kind of nifty and stuff, it's still killing the game. It's not making it any fun. And then there's those players that run those decks that are arrogant as like all creation. Like you're running a deck that you picked up offline and was like, oh, this is good. I'm gonna play it. Right now I'm a Dark World player, and the only reason I'm playing Dark Worlds is because last format I was running Fableds, which is this. At the core, they're the same deck. Just one's got bigger monsters. Trying to remember where I was going with that. But while that's all nifty and stuff, you gotta understand that when you're at a local area, you're usually playing with younger kids or older teenagers. I myself, I'm 21. Actually just started Yu-Gi-Oh back in I'm gonna say March, but needless to say, I'm still playing, and now I'm questioning why I'm playing it because it's not as fun as it used to be. The whole reason I got back into it was because I saw my friend Mike playing Inzectors at the college, and not that he was using the Inzectors themselves, because I was like, wow, those are kind of douchebag cards. It was the Exceed summoning, which I thought was interesting, but at the same time, they had no comprehension of how to summon them or whatever. So after doing a bit of research, I was like, okay, so the overlay cards, and they're used as material, like mana. And while that's all cool and stuff, as I'm watching games and stuff on YouTube and going on Dueling Network to watch games, I'm noticing that a lot of people just kind of don't even take the lesser used cards and then using them efficiently. Like you saw Steel Swarm Roach, you see Utopia in almost every deck. Any deck that runs any kind of warriors will be using Blade Armor or Excalibur. I'm not saying that they're bad cards. I'm just saying just because you can run a card doesn't mean you should. You should be original. You should be unique, because that's kind of the point of the whole deck building process. You want to make a deck that's uniquely yours, and just because it wins doesn't mean it wins everything. Because now you got Shadow Imprisoning Mirror for Dark Worlds, and what else you got? You got Light Imprisoning Mirror for Light Sworns, which honestly, I'm gonna say Light Sworns, they're not a bad deck. It's just I don't like playing it because it's a lot of chance in that one. It's almost like you're playing gambling cards. because you have that off chance that you're gonna like mill your 3 Judgment Dragons or mill a BLS. But needless to say, I'd prefer to see more customization to decks. Even if you're gonna run rabbits, don't run Dino Rabbit. Try Gem Knight Hero. There you go. Since a lot of the hero monsters are vanillas, and a good part of the Gem Knight fusions are vanilla. There you go. And even then, you can still run Omni Heroes, which is kind of cool. It doesn't exactly have to be anti-meta, but it could be its own little setup there. Could be cool. Alright, next point is scooping. I have a good example of this. I myself had scooped a couple weeks back. I was at my locals. It was right before a new format, and this kid was playing windups. And he's not a kid. He's like 23, 25, and like he's just arrogant. So I'm still playing my Fables, and what was it? That last game I was playing Unicorn Control. So, excuse me. He has 2 cards in his hand. He's got miscellaneous cards in his graveyard, and he's got Wind Up Kitten, Wind Up Factory, and then a set Torrential Tribute. I'm like, oh, that's cool. My mistake, I had not set my Monster Reborn face down so I can clear hand space, so we had the same amount of cards in my hand. The problem with this was he was kind of being a douche about it. He was like, oh, you didn't set that before, and you didn't give me time. And I gave him ample time, considering we were in game 3 and had 5 minutes left. He just liked to stall. At any rate, he torrentials, and I'm like, okay. And then he had some big stink about it, and then I'm like, he was like, oh, that's such a douchebag card, why are you running it? I'm like, why the hell are you running windups? I'm like, you're at a locals tournament, you should be playing something fun. And he got all mad, and then I just was like, you know what, fuck it, I scoop. I'm like, by the way, the card that I set was Monster Reborn. Could have brought back Unicorn since its summon wasn't negated. Yeah, it would have been over. But nonetheless, I think scooping against certain decks is acceptable, because once they get a setup going, and you know your deck can't take it, and you know that you've already used up a good ample amount of your resources, it's acceptable. And then there's those guys that are just like, oh, you're playing that deck, I don't even want to play you. Like, at least give your deck a shot. Alright, something else that grinds my ancient gear golem. Dumb luck. When I talk about this, I mean pulling money cards that I don't need, and not pulling anything that I do need. And then, on a related subject, top decking. As far as pulling the cards that I need and not pulling the ones that I don't need, or not pulling the ones that I need and pulling the ones that I don't need. There we go. As far as that goes, like, I've been known to pull like 3 number 11s out of every box at locals. It's pretty ridiculous. I have amazing luck with some packs of cards. I have not yet pulled a card D. And I only seem to really pull the good stuff when I'm sitting there with my buddy Brandon. Meaning, like, I think we're good luck for each other, because he went to go open up a box of Return of the Duelist, and he pulls Gear, Geek, and X, which I thought was pretty nifty. And then last night we went to Walmart and Target, and we bought like a total of maybe 5 or 6 Return of the Duelist and 2 Order of Chaos. In the Order of Chaos blister boxes, we ended up getting a wind-up rat, so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then he was like, oh, I want that. So then we proceed to open the Return of the Duelist. I went to go open one of his boxes, because I don't like sitting there bored. He was like, if you pull a Grand Soil, you can keep it. So I ended up pulling a Grand Soil. And then his box, he pulls Grand Soil. And I was like, what the hell is that? And as cool as that was, like, you know, I don't need it, you know. I'm not playing Rock Stun, so it's not one of my priorities, but I mean, it's nice to have. And then there's that, there's always that one kid at locals that always pulls out all the good stuff. I think I might be that guy. But then there's also This leads me into my next point there. I'll get back to top decking in a minute. Values, overvaluing and undervaluing, and then stingy traders and getting that trade from them. I think the most important part of a trade is how you value it, how you value a card. I mean, it is cardboard, but still, they are collectible. I mean, it really just depends on the trader and how willing you are to negotiate with it. For instance, we got a trader at my locals also named Mike, and he's pretty stingy with his trades. Like, for instance, he'll have like 3 BLS and he doesn't want to trade either of them. Like, he has no wants. And if he does have a want, like, he'll undercut it so he can get that trade. And I'm like, why would you do that? I'm like, you already got a lot of expensive stuff as it is. Why don't you just actually be a good guy for once and have people like you? Yes, he comes up there and then he's like, anybody got any trades? And then we're just like, shut up, Mike. But yeah, me and my buddies are well known for being generous with trades, because eventually we do expect, you know, if you get something that we want and, you know, you don't really need it, that you would trade it to us, and be reasonable about it. But you get the occasional trader that's just irrational, undercuts everything, and overprices their stuff. I, for one, undercut all of my stuff, whether it's sale or trade, and that's usually only the stuff that I don't want to keep. Like, I have a BLS. I'm gonna keep that at regular price because I actually do intend on using it at some point. But if something I see comes along and then I'm like, oh, okay, what do you value that? And if it's reasonable, you know, I'll negotiate something with them. I'm not unfair about that. And most of the traders on Duels to the Round that I've traded with know that I'm not unreasonable. Alright, but yeah, getting a trade from a stingy trader is like pulling teeth. As far as, like, it almost hurts me to actually part with cards, go to a douchebag for a card that I'm not, you know, too excited about getting. Like, if I want a card bad enough and the guy's being like a complete a-hole about it, I'm gonna just go online and buy it. They're like, sorry about your luck, if you're gonna be an a-hole, you're not getting my business. Same thing applies to retail stores. If I go in and they're just being total tools about stuff, then I'm just like, fuck you guys. Alright, but back to my point about the whole top decking thing. I see a lot of players that are playing like rogue decks and like Ojamas. Oh god. Some guy at my locals was playing Ojamas and beat Samurais. And it's not because he was top decking or nothing, it was just, it's the lack of the opponent top decking. They don't need anything like super special, but you get the occasional terrible hand where you can't do shit. And as bad as that is, you know, you gotta giggle about it, because some of those decks are really broken. They deserve to get a bad draw every now and then. But yeah, just what was it? About a week ago, me and my buddy Brandon were playtesting Rabbits vs Dark Worlds, and I top deck a Chain Disappearance and what was it? Card Destruction. So I set the Chain Disappearance, activate it when he summons his rabbit, and he got a little mad about that. And then I played Card Destruction next turn, got rid of his Exceed materials for Lever. So, as funny as that is, I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, some decks do, you know, you do need to get those on occasion to balance out the game. But with that said, if you guys like and want to hear more about this kind of stuff, if you actually enjoyed sitting here and listening to me talk, by all means, go ahead, rate, subscribe, like, you know, hit me up, and let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any ideas for subjects, let me know, and I can give a rant on that too. Alright, Strike Ninja 15, out.